They rejected me 12 times. 12! I was the one saving their biggest clients, working nights, fixing their messes. But they gave my promotion to someone who'd been there 8 months. That was the day I snapped and decided to burn it all down. My name's Emily, and when this all started, I was 33 years old, burned out, overlooked, and stuck in a squeaky office chair that had more support than the people I worked for. I was working at Pinnacle Strategic, a boutique consulting firm that loved to talk about team culture and family values, but only if your last name matched the partners or you played golf on weekends with upper management. For 6 years, I was their go-to person, the fixer, the one they called in the middle of the night when a project was falling apart. I rebuilt broken processes, automated reports that used to take 3 analysts 3 days, and single-handedly saved our largest account, Health Peak Regional, when it was on the verge of walking. They called me irreplaceable, praised me in meetings, and thanked me with pizza slices and vague promises of next time. But when it came time to promote someone to senior consultant, the role I had worked toward, the role I had earned, they passed me over. Not once, not twice, 12 times. 12 different people got promoted while I stayed stuck. And it wasn't just the promotions, it was who they gave them to. Sophie, who joined a year ago and still asked how to run basic client reports. Jared, who fumbled his way through meetings but always made the partners laugh. People who were loud, polished, and easy to like. People who weren't me. Every time it happened, I told myself to hang on, that the next review cycle would be different. But it never was. The truth was, they never saw me as leadership material, just someone reliable enough to clean up their mess. This isn't a story about staying quiet and hoping things get better. This is a story about snapping, about deciding I was done begging for a seat at their table and building my own instead. It's a story about how I turned the tables so hard they came crawling back, asking for a piece of what I built. If you've ever worked yourself to the bone only to be overlooked, ignored, or pushed aside, keep watching, because what happened next was a game changer. And hey, while you're here, hit that like button, drop a comment if you've been passed up at work, and subscribe for more stories like this. You're not alone. And this is just the beginning. It all came to a head on a rainy Thursday afternoon, the kind where even the weather feels like it's mocking you. I was sitting across from James, my boss, in his corner office, trying to keep my expression neutral while inside, everything was crumbling. He slid a sleek navy folder across his desk with that same fake half-smile he always wore, the one that tried to look sympathetic but never reached his eyes. I didn't need to open it, I already knew what was inside. Rejection number 12, another no for the senior consultant role I'd been chasing for years. This time it went to Sophie. 8 months into the company, fresh out of the same Ivy League business school as our CEO, she got the job I'd bled for. James leaned forward like we were friends, like he hadn't just sucker punched me. Q4's tough for promotions, Emily, he said with a practiced voice. But you're top of the list for spring. I could have screamed. I'd heard that exact sentence 11 times before. 11. I'd trained everyone who got promoted over me since 2018. Ethan, who spent more time missing deadlines than meeting them but shared tea times with James. Olivia, who couldn't build a client dashboard without texting me 15 times. And now Sophie, who was friendly and polished, sure, but knew next to nothing about the real guts of our systems. I'd taught her how to open a project file 2 months ago. Every time they passed me over, they gave me a new excuse. You need more client-facing hours. I doubled them. More leadership experience. I took on mentorship roles and led a cross-team project that saved our client $250,000, 0 cents. More technical certifications. I got them while still working 60 hours a week. I jumped through every hoop they threw in front of me, and every time I reached the finish line, they moved it. I started looking inward. Maybe it was me. Too quiet, too serious, too female, not enough politics at the happy hours? But deep down I knew. That day, watching Sophie walk around the office with her shiny new business cards and the team fawning over her like she'd invented consulting, it hit me like a punch to the gut. There was no secret formula, no magical checklist. The system wasn't broken, it was designed that way. It didn't reward work, it rewarded proximity, relationships, politics, connections. That night, I collapsed on my bathroom floor, fully dressed, knees against the cold tile, sobbing so hard my chest hurt. It was 2 a.m. and I couldn't stop asking myself how I'd gotten here, how I'd given so much to a place that couldn't even see me. I called my sister Sarah. She's an economist, the kind of person who speaks in TED Talk sound bites and always has a theory for everything. I ranted, cried, vented every inch of betrayal, all the exhaustion, every fake promise. She listened for about an hour and then said the one thing that cut through all the noise. "Oh, quit," I snapped back. "I can't, Sarah. It's been 6 years. I built my life around this. That's sunk cost fallacy, she said like it was obvious. Stop giving your best to people who treat you like background noise. Quit caring. Quit trying to impress people who don't even know what you do. I told her the job market was brutal. I needed the health insurance. I needed stability. But her words lodged in my brain like a splinter I couldn't ignore. Maybe, she said, you need to stop trying to fit into their world and start building your own. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling, hearing her voice echoing over and over again, and something in me shifted. Something snapped, but in the best way. I realized I knew this company inside and out. I knew every shortcut, every workaround. I knew which accounts were on the edge of leaving, which managers were coasting, which leaders had no clue how the back end functioned. Most importantly, I knew the 5 biggest clients that kept our doors open, the ones I personally kept happy for years. They didn't stick around because of James, they stayed because of me. Because I solved their problems at 11 p.m., because I picked up the phone on weekends, because I made them feel heard. And yet, I was still the one sitting in the shadows while people like Sophie got the spotlight. That was the night everything changed. I stopped crying, I stopped hoping, I started planning. Because they thought I needed them. They had no idea how much they needed me, and I was about to show them. The next morning, I walked into Pinnacle like it was just another Tuesday. Same blazer, same coffee mug, same half-hearted smiles. I congratulated Sophie like it didn't sting, nodded at James like I hadn't replayed his fake sympathy all night. But inside, I was done. Not just tired done. I didn't rage quit, didn't slack off, no dramatic speeches. I just stopped working for their approval. That was the day I started my quiet exit. Phase 1. Make myself even more indispensable. Not to win favor, but to build leverage. I took on the hardest projects, the ugliest client complaints, the ones no one else wanted. I fixed HealthPeak's integration meltdown in one weekend. I became their go-to, not Pinnacle's, mine. I kept it clean, no sabotage, no secrets, but every solution I created, every process I improved, I documented in my own private notebook, my personal blueprint, my intellectual property. Then I started mapping. I called it my indispensability map, a cold, data-driven breakdown of which clients I controlled, what systems would collapse without me, and exactly how much of Pinnacle's success was resting quietly on my shoulder. 12 rejections had rewired something in me. I wasn't desperate anymore, I was calculating. Phase 2 was building my escape hatch. I reached out to former coworkers, people I trusted, respected, admired. We got coffee, lunch, drinks, not job hunting, networking, strategizing. I updated my portfolio. No resumes this time. I wasn't applying anywhere. I was building something. I called it Clarity Partners. Quietly, I got a small business loan. I saved up 6 months of expenses, incorporated my firm, and started the groundwork. I spoke to 2 clients I'd worked closely with, very careful conversations, just offering insights, value, casual help, not poaching, planting seeds. I didn't ask them to leave Pinnacle, but I made sure that if they ever wanted to, they'd know where to find me. Phase 3 was the hardest, emotional detachment. I still showed up. I still did great work. But when James took credit for my strategy deck, I didn't flinch. When I was left off the leadership lunch again, I didn't care. When Sophie made another clueless error and I was expected to quietly fix it, I did it efficiently without complaint. I wasn't emotionally tied anymore. I was watching the house burn from outside. 4 months in, Liam, a loud, charming guy with mediocre numbers, got promoted, rejection number 13. I should have been devastated. I smiled. I updated my map. Clarity was almost ready. 5 months in, I had 2 signed client letters of intent and an operations plan. I was terrified. I'd never run a business, but I was done being underestimated. At 6 months exactly, I walked into James's office, no meeting scheduled, and dropped my resignation letter on his desk. His eyes scanned the page. "Emily, what?" I smiled. "I quit." His face twisted through stages. Confusion, disbelief, panic. "You can't. HealthPeak's rollout is mid-phase. Meridian Health is waiting for your update. You're critical." "I know," I said. "That's why I gave you 2 weeks. He tried bargaining. "Spring promotions are coming. Let's talk numbers." "This isn't about numbers," I said, "and this isn't a negotiation." That night, chaos erupted. James called an emergency meeting, claimed they had backups, but by day 3, reality hit. Nobody could fix the custom code I wrote. Nobody knew the client histories. Nobody could talk Meridian Health off the ledge. I did everything by the book, but when James asked me to do last-minute documentation and train a replacement, I replied calmly, "Sure, my consulting rate is $275.00 an hour." His jaw dropped. You're an employee? For 11 more days, I said. The next day, I got a call from Lorraine, the CIO at Health Peak. She'd called Richard, the CEO, personally, threatening to pull the contract if I left without a plan in place. Mia, Richard's assistant, whispered to me in the break room, "I've never seen him this rattled." By the end of the week, they offered me the senior consultant title I'd begged for with a 15% raise. I smiled, "Thanks, but I've made other plans." They bumped it to 20%. "It's not about money," I said. But oh, how sweet it felt to say no. Week 2, systems started failing. Clients were calling daily. Meridian Health's dashboard had a critical error no one could solve. I got another offer, senior manager, 30% raise, company car. I declined. On day 10, Richard himself cornered me. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept in days. "Name your price," he said, "director level. Choose your projects, work from home, just don't leave." My heart skipped. Director. That was beyond anything I'd dared hope for. But then I remembered sitting on my bathroom floor 6 months ago, invisible and broken. I remembered every rejection, every time I'd been told next quarter, every time I'd fixed something only to be forgotten. "I appreciate it," I said, "but my mind's made up." On my last day, I handed over every document they asked for. I trained a temp, answered questions, left everything neat and professional. No scorched earth, just clean closure. I walked out holding my little box of plants, mugs, and my stapler. James stopped me in the lobby, desperation in his eyes. "You won't last 6 months out there," he said. I turned to him, smiled, and said, "Watch me." My revenge wasn't in the dramatic walkout or the chaos I left behind, though I'd be lying if I said that didn't feel good. The real revenge, the kind that settled deep in my bones, came quietly, powerfully, the next morning. I walked into a downtown cafe, not as the undervalued employee of Pinnacle Strategic, but as the CEO of Clarity Partners. Sitting across from me were the 2 dissatisfied clients I'd quietly kept in touch with. They didn't need a pitch, they were ready. A week later, HealthPeak officially terminated their contract with Pinnacle. Not just one project, their entire portfolio came to me. Richard, Pinnacle's CEO, called me personally, voice seething. "You're breaching your non-compete." I let him rant. Then I calmly replied, "Check your records. I never signed one." The silence on the line was sweeter than any apology he could have offered. For 6 years, they overlooked that simple document. That oversight cost them millions. 3 weeks later, Meridian Health followed suit. Despite Richard offering them a desperate 40% discount, they chose Clarity. And just like that, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. By the 3rd month, I had 5 active clients, 3 former Pinnacle accounts, and 2 brand new ones through referrals. I was earning 3 times my old salary. I worked fewer hours, set my own terms, and for the first time, I felt whole. I hired Chloe, an analyst I'd mentored and watched get overlooked again and again. She was sharp, empathetic, and ready to build something real. No more burnout, no more politics, just clarity, in name and in practice. We set rules from the beginning. No 60-hour weeks, no fake hustle, just results and respect. Then came the moment I never saw coming. 5 months after I left, Sophie, yes, the Sophie who got promotion number 12, messaged me. She wanted to grab coffee. I was curious, so I said yes. When I saw her, she looked tired, drained, like I used to be. "Pinnacle's a mess," she said over her latte. "HealthPeak's imploding, James is blaming everyone but himself, and Richard's banned your name, but they still can't stop talking about how smooth things were when you were there." I wanted to laugh, I wanted to cry, I wanted to scream, "I told you so," but instead, I just listened. "I want to work for you," she said, voice small. I almost choked on my drink. Was this some kind of trap? But then I saw it in her eyes, the same broken exhaustion I'd carried for too long. "Send me your resume," I told her, and I meant it, because revenge isn't about gloating. It's about building something so good even the ones who overlooked you come knocking. 6 months to the day after I quit, I got the call. "Richard." His voice was shaky, almost humbled. "We're struggling," he said. "Worst numbers in 5 years. 7 clients have left. We're bleeding." I said nothing. He kept going. "Come back. We'll double your salary, make you director. We'll offer equity. Just come back." I stared out the window as he spoke, watching traffic flow and the sun catch the edge of my desk. 6 years ago, I would have begged for those words. I would have jumped at the title, the money, the recognition. But I didn't need any of it now. I already had what I wanted: respect, freedom, purpose. "I've moved on," I said, and for the first time in my life, I truly meant it. "You should too." Then I hung up, leaned back in my chair, and smiled, not out of spite, but peace. Because they didn't break me, they sharpened me. And in the end, that was the best revenge of all. I hung up the phone and just sat there, frozen for a moment at my Clarity partner's desk, my desk, in my office, in the company I'd built from the ground up. Then, unexpectedly, I cried. But not the kind of tears that come from pain or frustration. These were different. They came from relief. From finally being done with 6 long years of shrinking myself to fit a mold that was never made for me. I let go, fully, of that not enough feeling I'd carried like a second skin. That ache of being overlooked, underestimated, unseen, it didn't live here anymore. Today, Clarity Partners is more than just a consulting firm. We're 17 strong and growing, doubling revenue year after year, not because we hustle ourselves into burnout, but because we know exactly who we are. We say no to toxic clients, we protect our team's time, and we build systems around trust, not fear. Sophie, remember her, promotion number 12? She's now our Director of Client Services, and she's thriving in ways Pinnacle never let her. Chloe, the analyst everyone ignored, now runs our analytics division with clarity and brilliance. And Mia, yep, Richard's old assistant who used to whisper insider updates over lunch, she's now our operations manager, keeping this ship running like clockwork. We've built something real, something honest. Meanwhile, Pinnacle? They're still out there limping along. The company downsized twice in the last year. James was quietly let go. Richard, still clinging to the old ways, actually reached out 6 months ago to propose a merger. I didn't even hesitate. I said no. Because the real revenge? It wasn't that they're struggling. It wasn't even that I succeeded. It was the clarity, no pun intended, that I never needed their validation to begin with. Every one of those 12 rejections that once broke me were actually redirections, signs pointing me away from a place that never truly saw me and towards something I didn't know I could build. If you're listening right now and you feel stuck, passed over, unseen, I want you to hear this. You do not have to keep proving yourself to people who refuse to value you. You don't have to fight for scraps of respect at a table that was never meant to include you. Get up, walk away, build your own damn table. Your worth isn't measured by how well you fit into someone else's broken system. It's measured by how fully you can be yourself when you're finally free. So if any part of this story felt like your story too, I hope you'll like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Tell me the moment you realized you deserved better. I read every single one. Your stories remind me we're not alone in this. We're just waiting for our moment to break. A few years ago, I was curled up on a bathroom floor wondering how I'd ever stand up again. Now I own the building. And if I can do it, so can you. I'll see you in the next video. Keep building, keep believing, and most of all, keep going.